All right, who am I here with?
Jaxson Dart, quarterback at Ole Miss. And I'm the ultimate competitor, so I think everything that's tied into that separates me. But, there's a lot of great guys out.
The New York Giants select Jaxson Dart, quarterback, Mississippi.
No one expected it. When the New York Giants traded up to the 25th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, most fans assumed they were targeting a defensive lineman or a wide receiver. But then the name Jaxson Dart rang out across the draft stage. And the football world froze. Dart, the gunslinger from Ole Miss, wasn't even a guaranteed day one pick according to most analysts. Some had him slipping well into the second round. So why did the Giants go against expectations and use a first-round pick on him? Let's break it down. It wasn't just a gamble. It was a message. With one bold move, the Giants showed they're ready to rebuild their future with a fresh leader, a new mindset, and maybe even a whole new offensive style. Could this be the answer to the quarterback struggles that have haunted them for over a decade? But what made Jaxson Dart worth the risk? That's where his college story begins. Jaxson Dart didn't just put up numbers in college, no. He put on a show. At Ole Miss, he rewrote expectations with every game, piling up over 3,900 passing yards and 36 total touchdowns in his final season. He wasn't just a thrower either. Dart was a legitimate dual threat, rushing for nearly 400 yards and keeping defenses guessing every snap. But one game in particular turned heads across the country. A jaw-dropping 515-yard, 6-touchdown explosion against Arkansas. Coaches raved about his toughness, his leadership, and that uncanny ability to make something out of nothing when the play broke down. His teammates followed him, and scouts couldn't stop watching the tape. Sure, there were flaws, raw footwork, decision-making under pressure, but his ceiling was sky high. Some even whispered comparisons to Josh Allen in his early years. Unpredictable, electric, and absolutely dangerous when things clicked. Still, that kind of talent doesn't always translate. And the NFL is a different beast entirely. But what was happening in the Giants' QB room made this pick even more fascinating. Giants weren't exactly desperate for a quarterback, at least not on paper. With veterans like Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the roster, it looked like the team was patching up the position with experience while trying to stay competitive. But scratch the surface, and the cracks were obvious. Wilson, once a Super Rice Bowl champion, was on the final chapters of his career. Winston? Flashes of brilliance, but never the long-term answer. The message was clear. The Giants were buying time. Nothing more. So where did that leave Jaxson Dart? Exactly where the Giants wanted him, in the shadows, learning. Head coach Brian DeBoll wasn't planning to throw him into the fire on day one. Instead, the goal was to let Dart soak up knowledge behind two of the league's most battle-tested QBs. But make no mistake, this wasn't a charity pick. The Giants weren't just stockpiling quarterbacks for depth. They were betting on Dart to eventually rise through the ranks and take control. And with the team's history of quarterback struggles, the pressure was already building. But there was another twist in the story. A high-profile name, the Giants, passed on, and the reasons why were even more surprising. Just days before the draft, all eyes were on Shedeur Sanders, the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. He carried not just talent, but star power. A marketable name with undeniable ability. Many believed the Giants were seriously considering him. But behind closed doors, something shifted. Reports began surfacing about a pre-draft meeting that didn't go as planned. During a critical interview, Sanders was handed a playbook with intentional errors, a test the Giants reportedly use to gauge football IQ and attention to detail. According to leaks, Sanders missed them all. That single moment, fair or not, raised red flags. Some scouts questioned his readiness for the mental grind of the NFL. Others believed it showed a lack of preparation. Either way, the Giants pulled back. They wanted a leader, a grinder, someone who would dig deep into the film room and earn every snap. And that's exactly what they saw in Jaxson Dart. It wasn't about headlines, it was about trust. And the Giants made it clear who they trusted to lead the next generation. But making that choice was only the first step. What came next was, just as important, how to develop him without breaking him. The Giants knew the worst thing they could do was rush Jaxson Dart. After years of instability at quarterback, they weren't looking for another quick fix. They wanted staying power. That's why, from day one, General Manager Joe Schoen laid out a clear, calculated development plan. Dart would sit, learn, watch. Not forever, but long enough to absorb the speed, complexity, and mental demands of the NFL game. Behind Russell, Wilson, and Jameis Winston, he'd have the rare chance to study two vastly different styles of play, one cerebral and methodical, the other chaotic and fearless. Coaches planned to build Dart from the ground up, refining his mechanics, tightening his footwork, and teaching him how to read defenses on a whole new level. No pressure to perform, just pressure to grow. They weren't hiding him, they were sharpening him. And every rep in practice, every film session, every sideline headset was part of the transformation. Because when the time finally comes, they don't want a backup stepping in. They want a leader stepping up. And if you think, this sounds like a long shot, the signs of something bigger are already starting to show. The Giants didn't draft Jaxson Dart for who he is today. They drafted him for who he could become. And that vision? It's starting to take shape. Inside the organization, whispers are growing louder. Coaches have reportedly been impressed with his quick grasp of the playbook, his work ethic. Physically, he has everything you want in a modern quarterback: size, mobility, and a cannon of an arm. Mentally, he's showing the kind of grit the franchise hasn't seen since Eli Manning's heyday. It's not just about talent, it's about timing. And with the Giants clearly planning for a transition, it's only a matter of when. Not if Dart takes over the reins, but whether he becomes the next breakout star or fades like so many projects before him will depend on what he does next. The stage is set, the pressure is high, and the clock is ticking. From college sensation to one of the most talked about draft picks of the year, Jaxson Dart's rise has been anything but ordinary. The Giants took a risk, one that could either reset their franchise or haunt them for years. But behind that risk lies a strategy: patience, development, and belief in Dart's raw potential. With veterans to learn from and a coaching staff committed to his growth, the pieces are in place. Now it's on him to prove the Giants made the right call. And if he does, we might be witnessing the quiet beginning of a quarterback revolution. In New York, one that nobody saw coming. The only question now is, how long before the rest of the league realizes it?
But yeah, I'm the ultimate competitor.